The wind howled like a living creature across the endless white plain. Sharp flakes of snow moved sideways, carried by a storm that had no mercy for the weak. The air was so cold that even metal cracked in the night. A human man named Evan Rourke struggled to walk through the storm. His ship had gone down 6 hours ago on an unknown planet at the edge of the Orion sector. He had been trying to find shelter, but every direction looked the same, white, frozen, and lifeless. Evan's oxygen mask hissed with every breath. His survival scanner blinked weakly, warning him that his body temperature was falling fast. His fingers inside his gloves had gone numb long ago. He was tired, hungry, and freezing to death. He looked up at the sky. The clouds were black, the storm growing worse. "If I don't find cover soon, this is it," he whispered to himself. He took one more step, then another, forcing his legs to move. Suddenly, through the endless roar of the wind, he heard something. A sound that did not belong to the storm. It was small, weak, and full of fear, a crying voice. At first, Evan thought it was his imagination. He removed his helmet speaker and listened again. The sound came again, clearer this time. It was a child's voice. "Help, please! Somebody help my mom!" Evan froze in shock. That couldn't be real. There were no human colonies here. Then he heard it again, closer this time. A sound that cut through the storm like a knife. He began running toward it. His boots sank deep into the snow as he followed the echo of the cry. The blizzard tore at his clothes, but he pushed forward. Every few seconds the voice called again, trembling with fear and pain. "Please, she's dying. Help her!" Finally, he saw something. A faint glow behind a cluster of rocks. He approached carefully, pulling his laser pistol just in case. When he reached the glow, he froze in disbelief. There, lying beside a half-buried cave, was a small alien girl. She looked no older than 8 or 9 in human years. Her skin was pale silver, glowing softly under the snow. Her large blue eyes were full of tears. She was holding the hand of a motionless figure beside her. A woman, taller, older, with the same glowing skin, but her face was pale and her lips were blue. The girl looked up at Evan with wide, fearful eyes. "Please," she whispered, her voice breaking. "My mom is dying. She saved me from the cold. Please help her, human." Evan's heart pounded. He had seen aliens before him, but not like this. These were from the Aurelie species, known to avoid human contact after a war decades ago. They hated humans. And now, one of their children was begging him for help. He knelt beside them, removing his glove to check the woman's pulse. Her skin was ice cold. Her breathing was almost gone. "She's in hypothermic shock," he said quietly. "If I don't warm her soon, she'll die." The little girl's eyes filled with new tears. "Please, you can save her, can't you?" Evan looked at his emergency kit. He had only one thermal blanket, 2 heat packs, and a small energy cell for his portable fire unit. Not enough for 3 people, maybe enough for 1. He hesitated. If he used his supplies on them, he might not survive himself. His training told him to save his own life first. But when he looked at the little girl, shivering, her small fingers gripping her mother's hand, something inside him broke. "Hold on," he said. "I'll do what I can." He pulled the woman's body into the shallow cave and activated the small thermal heater. A faint orange glow filled the space, giving them a small bubble of warmth. He wrapped his only blanket around the alien woman and pressed the heat packs against her chest and neck. The girl crawled close to her mother, holding her tightly. "Mom, can you hear me?" she whispered. But there was no answer. Evan took off his coat and wrapped it around the little girl. "You'll freeze too," he said. "Stay close to the fire." The girl looked up at him. "Why are you helping us? Aren't humans supposed to hate us?" Evan sighed. "Not all humans are monsters, kid." Her lip trembled. "My name is Lyra. My mother is Asha. She told me humans are dangerous. But you don't look dangerous." Evan gave a weak smile. "Right now I'm just a man trying to keep us alive." Hours passed. The storm outside screamed like a living beast, shaking the cave walls. Evan kept checking Asha's pulse. It was weak, but still there. That gave him hope. At one point, Lyra fell asleep beside her mother, her head resting on Evan's coat. He looked at her, her small alien face peaceful despite the danger, and felt something strange inside him. It had been years since he had seen a child, human or alien. His heart softened, but his moment of peace ended when he heard something outside. A sharp metallic sound, like footsteps in the snow. He quickly put out the small fire and grabbed his pistol. He crawled to the entrance and peered into the storm. Through the white curtain he saw shadows, tall, moving, and armed. A voice shouted in a strange alien language. Then a beam of blue light scanned the area near the cave. Evan ducked back inside. Lyra woke up instantly. Her eyes went wide. "They found us," she whispered in fear. "Who are they?" Evan asked. "My people. The hunters. They will kill you if they see you here." Evan frowned. "Why?" "They think all humans are killers. If they see you with us, they'll think you hurt my mom." Evan cursed under his breath. He checked his laser charge, half empty. If they entered, he wouldn't last long. "Is there another way out?" Lyra shook her head. "Only this cave." Evan looked at Asha's still body, then at Lyra's terrified face. "Then we'll make our stand here." He pulled a small energy cell from his pack and connected it to his pistol for an extra power boost. The sound of footsteps grew louder. Lyra whispered, "Please don't fight them. They will kill you." Evan gave a grim smile. "Kid, I didn't come this far to freeze to death or to die running. If they want to kill me for helping you, they'll have to work for it." The shadows appeared at the cave's mouth. 3 tall figures in white armor stepped forward, holding glowing spears. Their eyes gleamed red under their helmets. One of them pointed at Evan. The little girl screamed, "No! Don't hurt him! He saved us!" The leader raised his weapon. "A human here?" His voice thundered. "Step away from them." Evan lifted his pistol slowly. "Easy now. The woman needs help. I'm not your enemy." "Lies." The alien leader shouted. "Your kind burned our villages and poisoned our seas. You come again to kill!" Lyra cried, running between them. "No, he helped us. He gave his coat to me. He saved my mom." For a second, the hunters hesitated. The leader looked at the child, confused. But one of the others snarled, raising his spear. Evan didn't wait. He fired a warning shot that melted a chunk of ice near their feet. "I don't want to fight," he said. "But if you take one more step, I'll defend myself." The leader's eyes narrowed. "You dare threaten us, human?" Before he could answer, a weak voice came from behind. "Stop, please!" Everyone turned. Asha, the alien mother, was awake. She struggled to sit up, her voice faint. "He saved us." The hunters froze. Their weapons lowered slowly. "Asha?" the leader said softly. "You live?" She nodded weakly. "Because of him." Lyra ran to her mother, hugging her tightly. Evan let out a long breath of relief. But even as the danger seemed to fade, he knew this was far from over. These aliens didn't trust him, and the storm outside wasn't done yet. Evan looked at the leader, his voice steady. "You can kill me later if you want, but right now she needs warmth and food, or she'll die again." The leader stared at him in silence. Then slowly he lowered his weapon. "You may stay until the storm ends, human, but if you harm them, I won't," Evan said. As the alien stepped back, Lyra looked up at Evan with wide eyes full of gratitude. "Thank you, human," she whispered. "You saved my mom," he smiled faintly. "Let's keep her alive first. Then we'll talk about saving." Outside, the storm roared on, and inside that small cave, 3 lives, human and alien, were bound together by one act of compassion that would change everything. But none of them knew yet that this night was only the beginning. The storm outside the cave refused to rest. Wind screamed like angry spirits, throwing white dust across the entrance. Inside, the orange light of the small heater flickered over 3 different faces. A cautious human, a weak alien mother, and her trembling little daughter. Evan sat near the fire, rubbing his hands to bring back feeling. His body was stiff from cold and exhaustion. He could barely move his fingers, but he didn't complain. Beside him, Asha, the alien woman, breathed unevenly under the blanket. Her silvery skin had lost much of its glow. Lyra, the little girl, sat beside her, still holding her mother's hand. The 3 hunters who had arrived earlier stood near the cave mouth, silent and watchful. Their tall bodies almost touched the ceiling. Steam rose from their white armor as the cold met the warmth inside. The leader, Commander Rin, kept his glowing spear in his hands but pointed it at the ground. His red eyes stayed locked on Evan. No one spoke for several minutes. Only the wind outside and the crackling of the small fire broke the silence. Finally, Rin said in his heavy voice, "Why are you here, human? There are no trade routes, no colonies on this side of the planet." Evan looked up, tired but calm. "My ship crashed. I was looking for shelter before the storm killed me. Rin's eyes narrowed. You expect us to believe that? I don't care what you believe, Evan replied. But if I wanted to hurt anyone, I wouldn't have saved her. He nodded toward Asha. Lyra glared at the commander. He's telling the truth. He gave his own coat to me. He shared his heat packs. Why can't you see he's good? Rin's jaw tightened. Quiet, child. You know nothing of humans. She knows enough, Evan said quietly. More than most adults I've met. The tension in the air was thick. The other hunters shifted uneasily, unsure whether to obey Rin or listen to the woman lying half alive near the fire. Then Asha opened her eyes. Her voice was weak but clear. Rin, let him be. He saved my life. Without him, Lyra would be alone. The commander's face softened slightly. He bowed his head. If that is true, then I owe him thanks. But only until the storm ends. After that, he must leave our lands, Evan nodded. Fair enough, he didn't argue. He was too tired to. He only wanted rest. But deep inside, he felt that something about this world wasn't right. Why were the aliens hiding in the snow? Why did they hate humans so deeply even after decades of peace? Asha closed her eyes again, whispering faintly. Rin, he needs shelter too. He cannot survive the night outside. The commander hesitated, then stepped back from the entrance. You may stay until sunrise, human, but I will watch you. That's fine by me, Evan said. Hours passed. The wind slowly began to weaken. Inside the cave, warmth built up. Lyra fell asleep again, her head resting on her mother's arm. Evan sat near the entrance, half awake, half dreaming. He thought of Earth, of sunlight, green forests, and laughter. He hadn't heard laughter in a long time. Out here among the stars, humans were mostly alone. Suddenly, Rin spoke again, his voice quieter. Why did you help her? You had nothing to gain. Evan looked into the fire. Because I heard a child cry for her mother. I didn't think. I just acted. Rin stared at him for a moment. Strange creature, you humans. You destroy, yet you save. You kill, yet you heal. I do not understand you. Evan gave a small smile. Neither do we. The alien leader almost smiled back but stopped himself. Do not mistake my tolerance for trust, he warned. There are others who will kill you on sight. Evan nodded. Wouldn't be the first time someone tried. The silence returned, but it felt less cold than before. By morning, the storm had ended. The world outside was white and calm, shining under two pale suns. Evan stepped out first, squinting against the light. He could see his crashed shuttle far in the distance, a dark shape half buried in ice. Smoke still rose from its broken hull. Lyra followed him, wrapped in his coat. Her eyes widened in wonder. It looks beautiful when the storm sleeps. It does, Evan said softly. But beauty can kill too. Don't forget that. She nodded seriously, though she clearly didn't understand. Will you leave now? She asked. I have to, he said. My distress beacon is still active. Maybe a rescue team will come, but you'll die out there again, she said quickly. You can stay in our village. Mom will ask them to let you. Evan shook his head. Your people don't want me there, Lyra. I'm human. You saw how your commander looked at me. She bit her lip. They don't know you like I do. Before he could reply, Rin stepped out of the cave behind them. The storm may return by nightfall. If you wish to live, stay close to the cliffs. There are caves east of here. Evan nodded. Thank you. Rin hesitated, then said quietly, You have my word that no one here will harm you. For now. That was more mercy than Evan had expected. He picked up his gear and turned to leave. But then he heard a faint groan behind him. Asha was trying to sit up outside the cave, leaning on the wall. You cannot walk far, she said softly. You are weak and the snow hides many dangers. Let us guide you, Evan frowned. You're not strong enough to guide anyone. I owe you a life debt, human, she replied. Among our kind, that means I must see you safe until the debt is paid. Evan didn't know what to say. He looked at her pale face, at Lyra's hopeful eyes, and felt something he hadn't felt in years. Belonging. Fine, he said finally. But if I slow you down, you leave me behind. Lyra smiled brightly. He said yes, Mom. Rin sighed. Very well. We move before noon. The journey across the frozen plain began. The group walked in single file. Rin in front, two hunters behind, then Asha and Lyra with Evan in the middle. The cold air burned his lungs, but he pushed through. As they moved, Evan noticed strange marks on the snow, deep claw prints and long trails that vanished into the mist. What are those? he asked. Rin didn't turn. Predators. They hunt by sound and heat. The storm kept them away. Now they will smell blood. Blood? Asha answered weakly. Mine, they can sense it from miles. Evan gripped his pistol tighter. Great. They kept walking until they reached a tall ridge of ice. Beyond it, the land dropped into a valley full of blue crystals. The air shimmered with faint energy. Beautiful but dangerous. Rin raised his hand. Stay close. The crystals are charged. One wrong step and they'll release plasma. Evan stared at the glowing valley. You live here? This is the path to our home, Rin said. It keeps outsiders away. As they began to descend, the ground shook slightly. A distant roar echoed across the valley. Lyra clung to her mother's arm. It's coming, she whispered. What's coming? Evan asked. Asha's face went pale. A frost maw. Before Evan could ask what that meant, a massive shadow moved behind the ice cliffs, a creature so large the ground trembled under its weight. It had 6 legs, a long body covered in spikes, and eyes that glowed white. Steam rose from its mouth with every breath. Rin shouted something in his language, and the hunters raised their weapons. Keep moving, he ordered. Do not run, it senses movement. Evan swallowed hard. That thing is bigger than a dropship. It feeds on warmth, Asha said. It will come for us first. Rin turned to Evan. Can your weapon harm it? Maybe slow it down, he said, but not kill it. Then aim for the eyes. The creature roared again, shaking snow from the cliffs. A moment later it lunged forward. Evan fired 3 shots. Blue light exploded against its face. The alien hunters fired their spears, releasing arcs of energy. The beast screamed, blinded on one side. Go, Rin shouted. Into the valley. Evan grabbed Lyra's hand and ran, pulling her after him. Asha stumbled but followed, protected by one of the hunters. The frost moss slammed into the ridge behind them, breaking ice apart like paper. Shards flew through the air. Evan threw himself over Lyra to protect her. The creature roared again, furious, then began to burrow under the snow. The ground shook violently. It's going underground. Asha cried. It will come up beneath us. Rin shouted orders, but it was too late. The ice cracked open below Evan's feet. He fell, grabbing Lyra's arm. For a second, both of them hung above a glowing pit of blue light. Hold on, he shouted. I can't, she screamed. Her small hand began to slip. Evan didn't think. He swung his body forward and threw her upward with all his strength. Lyra landed safely near Asha. Evan, however, fell, straight into the glowing chasm. Human. Lyra cried out, reaching for him. Evan's body vanished into the blue light. The ground sealed itself again, leaving nothing but silence. Asha held her daughter tightly as tears streamed down the child's face. Rin stood over the spot where Evan had fallen, his face grim. No one could survive that, he said quietly. But deep beneath the ice, Evan's eyes slowly opened. He was lying in a tunnel of glowing crystals. The air was warm, almost gentle. Strange symbols pulsed on the walls. Symbols he couldn't read, but somehow felt alive. He touched one of them, and the crystal responded, glowing brighter. A faint voice echoed in his head. Not his own, not human. The protector has come again. Evan froze. What the hell? Far above, Lyra whispered through her tears. He'll come back. I know he will. Asha brushed her daughter's hair. Then we must wait. Outside, the suns began to set, painting the ice with red light. Somewhere deep below, the human who saved an alien mother would soon discover a secret buried for centuries. One that could save or destroy them all. When Evan opened his eyes again, everything was silent. No storm, no screams, no sound at all. Just an endless hum that vibrated through the ground like a heartbeat. He lay flat on his back, staring at a ceiling made of glowing blue crystal. Strange lines of light moved through the surface, forming patterns like living veins. The air around him was warm, almost too warm, and filled with a soft mist that smelled like metal and ozone. He sat up slowly. His body ached, but nothing was broken. His helmet light flickered, revealing a narrow tunnel stretching in both directions. The walls seemed to pulse in rhythm with his own heartbeat. Evan looked at his scanner. It was dead. His pistol was gone too, probably lost during the fall. Great, he muttered. No weapon, no map, no way out. Perfect vacation spot. He stood and took a deep breath. The air was breathable, though thicker than normal. He touched one of the glowing walls. The crystal felt warm and smooth like skin. Suddenly, a flash of light spread across the surface where his hand rested. Lines of symbols appeared, spinning in circles before forming a single glowing mark. He pulled back in surprise. Then a voice, soft and echoing, filled his head. "The protector has returned. The warmth bearer walks again." Evan froze. "Who's there?" No answer, and only the faint hum. He looked around, half expecting someone to appear. But he was alone. He tried speaking again. "What do you mean, protector?" This time the crystals pulsed brighter. The voice came again, not in words exactly, but as thoughts inside his mind. "Long ago your kind walked these halls. The fire in your blood saved our world once. You carry that same light." Evan frowned. "I think you've got the wrong guy. I'm just trying not to freeze to death." But the crystals pulsed again and the ground beneath him shifted. A faint rumble came from deeper in the tunnel. Then a path lit up ahead, a trail of glowing symbols leading forward. Evan sighed. "Guess that's my way out." He followed the lights, walking carefully through the tunnel. The air grew warmer with each step. Soon he entered a large chamber, round and filled with towering crystal pillars. In the center stood something that made him stop in awe. A giant structure like a machine or temple, half buried in ice and glowing from within. It looked ancient, built from metal fused with crystal. Strange runes covered its surface. Evan approached slowly, his breath catching. "This is human tech," he whispered. "Old Earth design, but mixed with alien material." He placed his hand on the structure. Instantly, the runes glowed and a holographic image appeared in front of him. A man in a dark uniform, human, stood there flickering like a ghost. The hologram spoke in a broken voice. "If you're seeing this, the mission failed. We tried to bring warmth back to this world, but the storm never ended. The Aurelie blamed us. We tried to save them, but their hearts froze before the planet did." Evan's eyes widened. "Aurelie, the same aliens up there?" The hologram continued. "They sealed themselves away, cursed by fear. But this place, this core, still holds the power to heal the planet. It needs a human to awaken it. Only our blood, our energy, can start the heart of the world again." Then the image flickered out, leaving Evan staring at the empty air. He swallowed hard. "So that's what you meant by protector?" The voice returned inside his head. "Yes, the Aurelie called it betrayal. But your kind gave their lives to save them. The fire in your blood can melt the curse." He looked at the structure. "You want me to fix your planet?" "I'm not an engineer. I'm a soldier. You are warmth. That is enough." Before he could argue, the floor trembled. Far above he heard a faint rumble, the sound of the frost maw's distant roar. The creature was still hunting near the surface. Evan clenched his fists. "I need to get back up there." He began searching the chamber for a way out. He noticed a tall crystal spire that reached toward the ceiling. It looked like it might connect to the surface. He approached it and placed his hand on it. The spire glowed, and for a moment he saw through it, like looking through ice. He could see faint figures above, Asha, Lyra, and the others standing near the pit where he'd fallen. Lyra was crying. He touched the spire again. "I'm here, kid." "Don't cry," the crystal responded, sending a beam of light upward. A faint tremor shook the ice above. Above the surface, Lyra gasped. The pit that had swallowed the human suddenly glowed blue. "Mom, look!" she shouted. Asha looked down, her eyes wide. The ground pulsed like a heartbeat, and warmth spread through the frozen air. "It's coming from below," she whispered. "Something powerful." Rin frowned. "We must move. That light could draw the frostmaw back." But Lyra shook her head fiercely. "It's him! He's alive!" Before anyone could stop her, she ran toward the light. The snow melted under her feet as she got closer. "Please, come back," she cried into the glowing ice. Asha reached after her. "Lyra, no!" The ground suddenly cracked again. Heat burst upward, and a column of blue light shot into the sky. The force knocked everyone backward. From inside the light, a shadow appeared, human-shaped, rising slowly from the depths. Lyra covered her mouth in shock. "It's him." Evan emerged through the beam, covered in frost and light. The air around him shimmered. When he stepped onto the surface, the snow melted in a perfect circle beneath his feet. Rin and the hunters raised their weapons instantly, but Asha shouted, "Wait! Look at him!" Evan's eyes glowed faintly blue like the crystals below. He looked around, breathing heavily. "I found something," he said quietly. "Something ancient. Something human." Rin lowered his weapon slowly. "You should be dead." "Yeah, Evan said. Guess someone didn't get the memo. Lyra ran to him and hugged his leg tightly. I knew you'd come back, she said, tears streaming down her face. Evan knelt down, placing a hand on her shoulder. Told you I don't break promises, kid. But as he spoke, the sky above darkened. The Frostmaw's roar echoed again, louder this time, closer. Rin cursed. It's coming! The ground shook violently as the creature's massive body rose from behind the cliffs. Its eyes, half blind and furious, locked onto the group. It roared, shaking the sky itself. Evan turned toward it, his new blue-tinged eyes glowing brighter. Get them behind the rocks, he ordered. Rin hesitated. You can't fight that alone. Evan glanced at the light still shining from the pit. I'm not alone. The crystals beneath the ice pulsed again, sending waves of energy through the ground. Evan raised his hands instinctively. To everyone's shock, the light responded. A surge of glowing energy wrapped around him, forming a shield. Lyra gasped. Mom, look! The light listens to him. Asha stared, speechless. He awakened the heart core. The Frostmaw lunged forward, jaws wide. Evan braced himself and thrust his hand outward. A beam of blue fire shot from the ground, striking the beast in the chest. The creature screamed, crashing into the snow. Rin and his hunters opened fire with their spears, hitting it with arcs of energy. The air filled with light and heat as the battle raged. Evan focused all his strength, channeling the warmth he felt from below. His vision blurred, but he didn't stop. The creature lunged again, clawing through the ground. Evan shouted, and the crystal light exploded outward in a massive shockwave. The Frostmaw howled one last time before collapsing, its body frozen solid in mid-roar. Then silence. Evan dropped to his knees, breathing heavily. The glow around him faded slowly. Snow began to fall again, gently this time. Lyra ran to him, her small arms wrapping around his neck. You did it! She cried. He smiled weakly. Looks like your planet's got a few surprises left. Rin walked up to him, disbelief on his face. You controlled the Heartlight. Only the ancients could do that. Evan looked at him tiredly. Guess your ancients were more human than you thought. Asha stepped forward, her silver eyes full of wonder. You carry the warmth that our people lost long ago. The warmth we feared. Evan frowned. Feared? She nodded slowly. Our ancestors sealed the heart core because they thought it would destroy us. They said humans had cursed it, but now, you've shown it can save. The wind quieted. The suns peeked through the clouds again, shining over the frozen world. Evan looked at the sky. Maybe your world isn't dead after all. Lyra smiled up at him. Then you'll stay and help us fix it, right? He hesitated. I don't belong here, kid. My people are probably searching for me. Her smile faded, but you're the only one who can save us now. Asha placed a hand on his shoulder. If you leave, the light will fade again. Our world will die once more. Evan looked between them, the mother and daughter he had saved, and the endless frozen horizon beyond. I'll think about it, he said quietly. But deep inside, he already knew his answer. The wind changed direction, warmer than before, carrying the scent of melted ice and new life. Far below, in the crystal tunnels, the voice whispered once more. The protector has awakened the heart, but the storm of memory is not yet done. Evan looked at the horizon, feeling the pulse of the planet through his veins. He didn't know what was coming next, but he could feel that this was only the beginning of something much bigger.